One of the things you will ever come to realize is some people will never change. It doesn't matter how long you've spent without seeing them, you will always meet them and they're still the same people they was 5 years ago. Do you know that one friend uh, that used to do a certain job? You know that friend back in the years, maybe 10 years ago? Maybe they were selling a certain commodity. And then you moved on, life took you somewhere. You changed your life, you worked on yourself, you healed, and you discovered that you have become a greater version of yourself. So much has changed. And then you look back and you remember that person that you used to be. And you can see there's a difference. In some case scenarios, you can't even recognize yourself. And then you run into this old friend of yours that you knew 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And to your surprise, they were still doing the same job. They're still going through the same patterns. They're still looping. But you have broken the loops. And something hits you very hard. You're now thinking that if you had stayed with that person around you, you would most likely be looping the same way as they're doing. You can now see the difference between you and them. You know that you have changed. Sometimes they will even tell you that, oh, you've changed. You've really changed. What have you been doing with yourself? How have things been moving? How did you do this? How did you get here? And you almost don't have an answer for them. You almost like, you want to tell them the truth of what you've been doing, but you also know that they will not understand. Sometimes you may tell them that, I went there, after that heartbreak. I went there, I was healing, I was doing this, I was doing that. But still you see that they cannot understand you because they are still at that same frequency that you left them. Nothing has changed. It is your responsibility, chosen ones, to show people it is possible to change your life over upside down, to change your life around, not upside down, to change your life around. It is possible to change your life around. But it is not your duty to force them to make those changes. You can only show them what is possible. So if a person is wise enough, they will have that moment of self-reflection because they want to know the secret. How can I be like him? They may take some time to think a little bit, but it is not your duty to push them because sometimes you push people and you feel like you're becoming a burden. You're telling them that, listen, that woman you're dating, that man you're dating is abusive. They're not going to take you anywhere. You're telling them that habit you're involved in is not going to serve you. But they're seeing you as a burden because they are thinking you're putting your nose very deep into their business. I remember speaking to someone in some years ago. I was talking to somebody about, was talking about relationships. I just got out of a very difficult marriage. So this person I was talking to, this person, I told them, listen, that man you're dating is a narcissist. The man is toxic. And sometimes I would feel like they almost got me. But then I realized they wasn't getting it. I tried the second time. Then I was like, okay, nothing else I can do. So I went my own way. I was like, I cannot keep on pushing this, these ideas and all this stuff. I cannot keep on pushing these people because I really saw that they wasn't moving. They wasn't getting anywhere. It wasn't getting anywhere. Sometimes they would even say that I was putting my nose very deep into their business. So I was like, I don't want to be a burden. So I walked away. I told them, listen, if you want to be my friend or you want us to be close, we can talk about the other things. But when it comes to your relationship, I don't want to get involved because there's nothing else I could do. I could now see that there's nothing else I could do. There was in that loop and discard Hoover. So there was nothing else I could do. I told them, I'm going to go and, I've just gotten out of a bad relationship. So I'm going to go out there and do my healing. I'm going to work on myself, focus on myself. At that time, I didn't even know what healing was, but I still did it anyway. And it has been so many years down the road, those same people are still looping in that same toxic relationship. You cannot force people to see the truth. Your job is to go out there and work on yourself. You be the example so that you can show them what needs to be done, and it can be done. It is possible. So there's always that friend of yours that circles back to you after so many years. And they're like, oh, you've changed, Oh, I remember you used to be this. Oh, the way you used to smile, the way you used to do that, and the way you used to do this. So they was still used. They was hoping that they was going to meet that version of you that they knew many years ago. Only for them to be shocked that that version of you is gone. It no longer exists. You have already upgraded. That version of you which always needed validation, that version of you which you always used to beg, the version of you which used to plead around with people, the version of you that used to play very small because you didn't want to make people uncomfortable, so you always tried to play it small, and that version of you is gone. Something magical happens the moment you walk away from some people. You experience a growth that you never knew was possible. And you realize it is those individuals that was actually stopping you from evolving. So when you meet these people that you used to know, you ever run into them again, it is what they're always going to think because they're still looping, okay? It's a loop. They're going in circles. It's a loop. And now that they can no longer recognize the person that you've become, they are hoping that they can meet that same version of you that they used to know. The version of you that used to wait for their validation, the one that used to beg around, the one who used to plead, the one who used to play small, the one who used to, coil around, and that version of you is gone. And it is very terrifying for some people when the moment they realize that this person that we used to know, they're no longer doing the same things. They are different. They are not the people that we used to know. It is very shocking to them. It is terrifying for them because now they don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know how to approach you. They don't know what to say when they come around you. They don't know how to act when they're around you. they feel like you have got a completely different energy, which is the truth. So that energy is kind of very intimidating for them. They don't know how to handle you in that frequency. They used to know how to handle you back in the days. Okay, you guys, the black sheep, you know. When you used to be in those toxic families, they used to be comfortable with, shouting around and throwing shade and smearing and all that stuff. They used to do all those things and it was easy. But now you outgrow that version of you and you become a completely different version of you. That version of you, the new version of you, will always override the older version of you. You can no longer be around the same people. You can no longer do the same things. You no longer have the same beliefs. You could have come from, for example, a very religious family, maybe a very traditional family, and things have changed. So you no longer believe in the same things that you used to. You no longer believe in those same things. So now you are here meeting these individuals. And some of them are fighting around with you. Oh, he used to be very soft. He used to be a yes man. He used to be a yes woman. The lies they used to say, you would swallow all the lies. The things they used to do, the abuse and all that stuff, you could tolerate at the time. But now that you have outgrown that version of you, you can no longer tolerate the BS. That is what makes them uncomfortable. Even sometimes you meet those individuals and you feel like you no longer fit in. You no longer fit in. You have really outgrown these people. You have a lot of love and respect for them. But on an energetic level, you know that you have really outgrown these people. You're no longer on the same frequency. You feel it. You can see. You have broken the loops. They haven't. You have done the work. They haven't. You have moved places. They haven't. You have evolved. You have grown. They haven't. It is also very terrifying for you. Sometimes you're like, okay, but what else can I do with these people? And you no longer fit into their little box. The little box that they was used to, where they always used to come and know that, okay, so that's where you used to stay. That's the corner you used to sit. That is the chair you used to sit. Those are the things you used to do. Everything is gone. You're no longer that person. It is terrifying not only for them, but it's also terrifying for you. You're thinking that had you stayed with these individuals all those years, you'd be stuck in the same loops as them. And you can clearly see the difference that you have outgrown these people. And there's nothing you can do, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing you can do. You are there to show them what is possible by being an example. But you cannot force them to change because there is some people, they are not going to change. They are simply going to be doing the same things. They are going to be the same people forever. They are going to be the same people forever. Change is difficult, ladies and gentlemen. Change is hard. A person who has decided to change their life, turn their life over, has really done a lot of work on themselves. I have a lot of love and respect for those people because I understand what change really means. Changing from the older version of you into a newer version of you, the much more improved, healthier, better version of you. I know what it means. I've been there. So don't be surprised when you run into people and all of a sudden they're like, they don't understand you. Oh, they used to understand you. They used to understand you many years ago, but they no longer understand you. They can no longer vibe with your frequency. Even some of you guys, you can no longer date the same women that you used to. You used to have a certain quality of ladies you used to date, or maybe mainly that you used to date, that you was comfortable with in that older version of you. But as you change, you realize that you have lost the taste for that kind of people like that. Maybe you was a person who used to enjoy the clubs and all that stuff. Sometimes you used to date this girl from the clubs and stuff, but all of a sudden you've healed and you've grown, you've evolved, and you're like, you want to meet somebody who has been taking some time to work on themselves. Because you're no longer clubbing. You was clubbing many years ago, but you're no longer clubbing. You're not into concerts. You're a person who is committed to growth and development, and you're doing the work. So everything changes. Your taste will also change. Your desires will change. Your energy will shift. Your choices will change. Is what they mean when they say the newer version of you. It is a version of you that can no longer tolerate that older version of you. So when they come around, when you run into those people, they will notice. They notice the difference. They know. They will feel it, even energetically, even sometimes without you speaking. They will know that we can no longer have or hold a conversation with so and so. Because the version of them that used to be easier to play around with or to manipulate, that version is gone. It can no longer happen. A lot of you black sheep you're going to run into, family members, later on in the years, over the years, you will start running into these family members and you will notice the vibe is different. They are blaming you for change. You cannot apologize for changing. If you surely know that you have lived a life that wasn't serving you and you have moved out of that frequency, you cannot apologize for choosing better. That is what they mean when they say you have to let the old go. It also includes people that you used to know. But you have to understand that the people you've left behind, they miss. And it is going to be very uncomfortable for them when they find out that they can no longer meet that older version of you. They cannot recognize your frequency. It's a different frequency altogether. The older version of you is gone, but they do miss that person. So when they do meet you, they are hoping that you're still that same person that you used to be. But that person no longer exists. And that is what a lot of people will never accept. So what we have to learn, chosen ones, is you have to choose growth over comfort. You have to choose growth over looping. The moment you decide and you say it is time for you to work on yourself, do it with both feet in. You cannot break the loop when you're still the older version of you. You cannot break the loop when you're still involved with the people, places, and things that used to describe that older version of you. If you stick to the journey, you commit to the journey, you persist, and you persevere, you are always going to meet a version of you that even your old friends and family members cannot recognize, and it is for the better. Do not apologize for anything. You didn't do anything wrong. You just chose better. Okay? You just chose growth over comfort. You chose evolution over loops. That is how you move forward in this situation. If they want to stick around, which I'm already sure that they will not, let them do. If they want to leave, let them go. But even you energetically, you will feel that you no longer match their frequency. It is uncomfortable for you to look around and you see you are no longer on that same vibe. Not in an egotistical way, trying to be like you're better than them or something like that, but you just feel like energetically you've shifted and there's nothing else you can do. It's been a motivational video for today, guys. Let us know what you think. I love and appreciate your support. Please book a session if you want to. You can always donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I will see you guys in my next one. Denzomos signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.